The sun hung low over the vast plains, painting the sky with hues of gold and crimson as the cowboy rode steadily through the open landscape. Dust swirled around his boots and horse hooves, and the gentle wind carried the faint scent of sagebrush and pine. He was a man of few words, known among the neighboring ranches for his courage, integrity, and an unwavering sense of justice. Life in the Wild West demanded strength, and he had it in abundance. Not just physical strength, but a heart attuned to compassion, something rare in these rugged lands. As he followed the winding trail near the edge of the forest, he noticed something unusual, a flash of movement among the trees. His instincts, honed from years of experience, told him it was not a mere animal. He urged his horse forward cautiously, scanning the underbrush. That's when he saw her, an Apache woman, young and strong, but caught in a cruel bear trap. Her eyes widened in pain and fear as she struggled, the sharp steel biting into her ankle. He could see the blood trickle down, and the sight ignited a surge of determination within him. Without hesitation, he dismounted and approached slowly, keeping his hands visible so as not to alarm her further. "It's all right," he said gently, his voice steady yet reassuring. "I'll get you out of this." The woman hesitated, fear mingling with curiosity, but the cowboy's calm and confident demeanor seemed to reach her heart. With careful precision, he examined the trap, speaking in soft, deliberate words as he worked to free her. Minutes felt like hours, but eventually, the cruel mechanism released its grip, and she could stand again. Pain radiated through her ankle, yet relief flooded her expression. She studied the cowboy, recognizing bravery that transcended the ordinary, a man who risked himself for a stranger. She introduced herself with a quiet dignity. "My name is unknowingly," she said, her voice soft but firm. The cowboy tipped his hat and replied, "Call me Jackson." Neither spoke much after that, yet in their silence, a bond began to form, a bond rooted in trust and unspoken respect. Jackson helped her to his horse, lifting her gently, ensuring she could ride without worsening her injury. The ride back to her village was tense but peaceful, the wind carrying a sense of anticipation, as if the world itself recognized the significance of this meeting. Upon reaching the edge of the Apache settlement, Nayeli expressed gratitude that felt more profound than words could convey. She led Jackson to the village chief, an elder whose eyes held wisdom tempered by years of leadership. The chief observed Jackson with careful scrutiny, his face a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. "You risked your life for my daughter," he finally said, his voice deep and commanding. Jackson bowed his head respectfully. It was the right thing to do. No one deserves to suffer when help is within reach. The chief nodded slowly, his respect for the cowboy growing, for he could see the purity of his intentions. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the village gathered to honor the act of courage. Children stared wide-eyed, elders whispered in approval, and the warmth of community embraced both Jackson and Nayeli. The cowboy felt a strange mixture of humility and pride. He had never sought recognition, yet he understood the power of this moment. Over the days that followed, Jackson spent time learning about the Apache way of life, their customs and their values. Nayeli, despite her initial shyness, revealed a spirit as fierce and independent as the land she called home. Together, they rode through forests and plains, shared stories around campfires, and slowly discovered that admiration could blossom into something deeper, something neither expected, but both welcomed. News of Jackson's bravery spread throughout neighboring lands. Other ranchers and settlers spoke of the man who showed courage tempered with kindness. And in the Apache village, his presence began to symbolize a bridge between two worlds, a union of respect, understanding, and hope. Yet amidst the growing connection, the shadow of uncertainty lingered. Nayeli's father, the chief, observed every interaction with a thoughtful eye. He recognized Jackson's integrity and bravery, but knew the responsibilities of leadership demanded careful consideration before making life-altering decisions. One morning, as the crisp wind rustled the leaves, the chief called Jackson to his side. The village was quiet, the early light casting a solemn glow on the earth. "You have shown honor and courage," the chief said slowly, his gaze steady, "but your actions carry weight beyond this moment. My daughter is more than a family. She represents the future of our people. To help her is noble, but to walk beside her for life is an even greater choice." Jackson listened intently, understanding the gravity of the chief's words. He realized that heroism was not measured by a single act of courage, but by the commitment one made. Afterward, the choices that shaped lives, built trust, and fostered love. That day marked a turning point. Jackson knew that his connection with Nayeli had deepened into something profound, something that could not be ignored. He also knew that respect for her family, her culture, and her values was paramount. As he rode back to the village, he reflected on the journey that had begun with a single act of bravery and was now blossoming into a path that could change both their lives forever. The sun set once more, casting long shadows across the plains, and as the stars began to twinkle, Jackson and Nayeli shared a quiet moment by the river. Their hands brushed, and though words were unnecessary, understanding passed between them like a silent promise. Courage had brought them together, but respect, trust, and the quiet strength of shared experiences were what bound their hearts. Jackson knew the road ahead would not be simple, but with each passing day, he felt more certain that heroism was not just about saving someone from danger. It was about standing by them, understanding them, and building a life that honored both their spirits. The chapter of that day closed with hope, admiration, and the unspoken acknowledgement that life had a way of rewarding kindness and bravery in ways even the Wild West could not predict. And so, as the night settled over the village, the promise of a life-changing journey lingered in the air. The story of the heroic cowboy who saved an Apache woman was only beginning. In the days to come, challenges, choices, and the potential for love and unity would shape destinies. But for now, the world held its breath in quiet anticipation, ready to witness the extraordinary bond between two souls. Brought together by courage, compassion, and fate, the morning sun bathed the Apache village in golden light as Jackson prepared for another day beside Nayeli. The chief, wise and deliberate, approached him with measured steps, his gaze serious yet respectful. "Jackson," he said, "your courage has proven your heart. I must ask something that changes both your lives. Will you marry my daughter?" Jackson paused, understanding the weight of the request. It was more than tradition. It was trust, honor, and the future of their people. Nayeli looked at him, her eyes reflecting hope and strength. Jackson nodded slowly, aware that his feelings for her had grown deeper than he ever expected. He would protect, respect, and cherish her always. The chief smiled, knowing his daughter's heart was safe, and that this union would unite courage, love, and understanding between two worlds. That day, a new chapter of life began for Jackson and Nayeli, one shaped by bravery, compassion, and the promise of a shared future full of hope, respect, and lasting love.